Did you miss us?
Because we missed you.
That's good. Sit down, cozy up, grab your favorite comfort drink.
Because you're now listening to the Sippin' Pretty podcast.
Should we tell them what we got today? We went to Dutch Bros today, guys. So
yeah, because we had that question that we didn't get to answer last week on our Q&As. What are our go-to
matcha place? They asked.
Matcha and coffee. I think it's matcha and coffee.
Yeah.
So yeah, we switched it up today. We went back to our roots, the OG Dutch Bros. What'd you get?
I got a Christmas morning chai. I get it iced with, I get whipped cream on it, and then I get cinnamon sprinkles on top and in the cup. And I always ask for extra. Sometimes they listen, sometimes they don't. What can you do about it?
They messed mine up today too, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I got a white zombie chai. I asked for caramel drizzle, but they didn't do it. And soft top. And they gave me the cinnamon sprinkles too, which I can't really tell if that makes a difference or not, but
yeah. I like it because I usually don't use a straw to drink mine, so I just like...
See, and I have to use a straw. I can't just drink it out the cup like that. I don't know why.
Yeah, I think the straw makes my teeth hurt.
Oh.
Maybe I just have a shit ton of cavities. Who knows? I will say our little intro with the little like mixing the ice in the cup is supposed to resemble this, you guys. But with the straw glass, in case you were wondering like what that was.
We were
That's
like,
what it's
we
supposed
want
to be.
that iconic sound to be like, when you hear that, you think of Sippin' Pretty.
Yeah.
I think that was a good little, because coming up with a whole jingle.
Oh, that's too much work for us. How about we just create our own jingle? Literally, guys, I created that little sound in like 5 minutes. I was rushing out the door and we were getting ready to launch on a Wednesday.
It's literally water and ice. It's not even coffee.
I know. I literally poured the water in. I put a shit ton of ice in there because it was melting fast and nothing was like giving what it needed to give. So I just put like 2 whole trays in this large cup. I like smacked the glass straw in there and I mixed it. I was like, perfect, chef's kiss, it worked. And we're so glad that in the first episode someone mentioned that it was like that it was satisfying. Yeah, so thanks for complimenting our hard work.
Yeah. All right, so by the title of this video, you could probably tell it's gonna be a heavy one. But I think it's really crucial for each of us to share a little bit more in depth about the things that we went through that ultimately made us the people that we are today. And it was actually Cato's idea that we do these next couple episodes kind of formed as like an interview where we each get a full episode to really dive in deep to everything that we've experienced, everything that we've gone through. And the other one will kind of just guide the conversation with some like interview-esque questions. So I like the idea of that because I think that it can feel a little bit, like I said, like heavy or overwhelming when you're talking about such deep topics. And for us, when we have like a lot to cover too, it's like, where do I start?
And when we've had these conversations, it's been like hours of just conversation and debriefing. So I thought, hey, I think we should really do like one episode dedicated to each of us, so we don't have to cut short and really just express everything we want to and go into depth into what we do want to go in depth into, just so that we can stay true to our story and really just...
And you guys get that perspective. It
was also a way of, we were talking about like what should our next episode be, and a few weeks ago we were also trying to figure out what we would talk about, and Desi mentioned we should do like a get to know us, and I'm like, okay, like but like there's a get to know us in the superficial level and there's a get to know us as a person and why it is that we are who we are now. And I think I much would rather go that way and that route, so you guys again just get an insight into why we do certain things the way we do, why we view certain things the way we do, and really just I guess view us for who we truly are. and then everything and every decision we make and everything else we talk about on here will all make sense why we view it that way.
I think it's just allowing us to like fully embrace this space that we've created too.
Yeah.
Because that's one thing that we've said is that we want this space to be something where you can come and you relate in some kind of way. And so yeah, we really are just embracing that and like embracing it to the fullest, where we're using it for the relatability factor, because everybody goes through their fair share of things and
of trauma, I guess, also, so you don't feel alone.
Yeah, because I think I posted a TikTok kind of like debriefing about what today's episode was going to be, and that was one thing that I said, that I'm almost like showing up the way that I wish I would have had someone show up for me. Like I could have used somebody like in the thick of what I was going through to just sit there and tell me that like they've gone through it too, and that they're on the other end of it now. Because you know, when you're in the middle of it and it just feels like, oh, the world is ending, you know, it's like, and then you don't have anyone there to like show you that light at the end of the tunnel,
Show you what it can be.
Yeah. And one of the biggest things that I said in that TikTok too, and that I've always felt when it comes to like sharing my story, is that I have a voice for a reason and I'm going to use it.
Yeah.
So that's what it comes down to, and that's what it's going to be today. So
hey, people do TED Talks, people go on podcasts. We have our own podcast. May not be a TED Talk, but it can be one day, and this is exactly what we would do.
Yeah.
Share our experiences and hope people can learn from them and help them grow from them, and show them there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Like Desi mentioned in the title, it does say trigger warning. So with that being said, we are going to touch on some pretty heavy topics.
There will be mentions of SA and suicidal ideations. So just keep that in mind if you choose to continue listening.
And if not, please take care of your mental health and
do what you got to do, girl.
Yeah. Well, you can tune in, not the next one, because it's really...
Same trigger warnings apply.
Yeah, so... touch back in a few weeks, or go to our TikTok and show support there. How about that?
Well, we do like to like make light of dark situations.
Yeah.
Too. So if you catch us like laughing through the pain, then
hey, it's the best way you can go about it.
It's our coping mechanism. So
dark humor is my type of humor. Yes. My cup of tea. So I guess let's dive right into it.
Yep.
Okay.
I feel like you're like looking into my soul.
It's a sign of respect, you know?
Okay.
So I had to, I'm fading, in case you're not watching the video, I'm like facing Desi now, which would probably just make
it more... She completely adjusted herself to just me.
Or probably just make it more uncomfortable, huh? You don't have to do the same. Okay, so last episode, we learned that you grew up in Greeley your whole life. You had you're pretty much always... The idea of family was instilled in your brain from a very young age. How was that with your family? Were you always having cookouts, family over all the time?
Yeah. So, like she said, I've always grown up here, never moved around, never, it was always, everybody was here. And growing up, I did grow up without my biological dad in the picture for most of the time. He was kind of in and out. He left not right after I was born, but I think it was a few months old. Had a couple more children, and then along the way, I think it was mostly his, wives that were kind of initiating that, like, you should speak to your other children type of thing. So he would come in and out. He also battled drug addiction and alcoholism, and he had his own fair share of stuff going on, but so I grew up with mostly just my mom and my mom's side of the family, my two siblings from my mom, and they have a separate dad, and then also my stepdad's family was a super big part of my life. So I basically grew up with them being like not my blood relatives, but they helped raise me. So I mean, we were always together we had a lot of support from them for a while. I feel like a lot of these things that I touch on, it's really different seeing it from a child perspective and seeing it from an adult perspective. So differentiating those two and being like, oh yeah, like as a child you saw it as like, I'm just always at grandma's house and we're always together and that's a good thing. And then seeing it as an adult and knowing the truth behind why we were always at grandma's house and stuff like that, it paints a different picture. So yeah, they basically like helped raise us. So I feel like in some of those ways, looking back at it now, I can see where my mom kind of like fell short in some of her duties, just in the basics of like raising us. She was a single parent for a good amount of my like adolescent years, so I know that that's not easy, but yeah, we just relied, I think, on a lot of family for a lot of things. And yeah, I don't know. My dad's side, I didn't really get into contact with his dad and his dad's new wife. They lived out of state. I didn't really get into contact with them until I was in high school, but they were and still are like a huge part of my life. They got me my first phone so that I could like keep in contact with them. They're the reason that I've done a lot of the traveling that I've done. They would take me on all their vacations and stuff like that. And yeah, so while they weren't physically here in the state, they always made sure to like show up for me, and still do to this day. And then my aunt, I always call her like my second mom. And like when we're out and about too, everybody always thinks that she's my mom. Yeah, she's a huge part of my life. And then my mom's mom and her husband have always been there. I mean, in our childhood too, we like sometimes lived with them, like lived with family members, and yeah, we've always just been really dependent on them. I can go into this, it's kind of like a separate category, I think, but my siblings too. Like I mentioned, I grew up with my two siblings from my mom and a different dad, but I also spent a good amount of time with my siblings from my dad as well. And then my oldest brother, I actually didn't know about him until I was in high school. So that's a whole nother category, but yeah, for the most part, family was just instilled in us that like you keep them close, and everybody's like, I don't want to say like dark side, but we were, for the most part, when we were really young, shielded from what was actually going on and the real reasons that everybody was so close, or like I said, that we were always with grandma and grandpa, or like things like that. And I didn't really know the truth behind that until I was older.
You're very naive as a child.
Yeah, for sure.
And you're just stoked with the fact that you get to see your cousins and be with everyone together. Yeah. So one thing that I did want to mention too was that while like I did have a lot of childhood trauma in different ways, just that it wasn't all bad. Like I have good memories with some of the people that I now don't speak to, you know, like there are good memories that I have with my mom, and there are good memories that I have with my dad, and with, you know, some of my grandparents and aunts and uncles and cousins and whatever. But it's just important to note that those good memories can still exist and be there, but it doesn't take away from all the bad things that happen. And like the bad things still need acknowledged, like the good doesn't just cover those up. So yeah, it wasn't all like darkness and gloom, but it also wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. I don't think anybody's is, but I did still have good memories with them. Well, and sometimes the severity of the bad just outweighs the good in general.
Right.
Yeah, and I think once, like you said, once you become an adult, you really get to see people's true colors and see why they did some things, and sometimes you can't even understand when they did some things,
or even
right?
the parts that you like didn't even know about. Like there's so much about my like trauma that I'm still learning about. Like still things that, you know, I have questions about, and I'll talk to like my aunt or my grandparents about, and I'll like learn whole new things. But it's all because like you don't have that perspective as a child. You know the very like baseline of it. And as an adult, when you're able to like dive in deeper to it and ask those questions, you know the questions to ask.
Yeah.
And you know, like, okay, like you're trying to put all the pieces of the puzzle together, and it's just like a whole other beast to like tackle. Like you think that you're healing, that you have to heal as a child, but like you have to complete that whole next level when you're trying to heal as an adult too.
Yeah.
From the things that happen as a child. Like
Yeah, and I feel like when you're a child and you go through something traumatic, regardless of what it is, as a kid, you're trying to understand why you went through that. So you don't even have the time to think about like the other adults in your life that might possibly know about this. So as an adult, you get that new insight, and you're asking the questions that maybe other adults in your life should have been asking or trying to figure out the answers to. Yeah. You mentioned your dad was kind of in and out of the picture. How was your relationship with your dad? Were you, when he was in the picture, was it like okay, or you as a young individual, did you kind of hold that against him? Did you ever call him out on that?
Oh yeah, one thing about me, I was very vocal about like my feelings, and like to both of my parents, like calling them out on like their mistakes and letting them know like how their choices have affected me or how their choices have made me feel. I'm very vocal about that. I do think that I did hold it against him there for a while, because I remember just like little flashes of memories with my dad, you know. I remember one time, there's like more trigger warnings we should probably put in because I didn't even think of this. But I remember one time with one of his wives, they had picked me up so that I could spend the night with them and my two siblings. And I remember all was like fine and dandy. We went and got Taco Bell. I remember those little cinnamon twists or whatever. Yeah, like the dessert that they got us and stuff. And that same day, like I witnessed him like physically assaulting her and like, hitting her. And so that's one of like my prevalent memories of him, you know. And then there were a lot of times where, you know, he would make promises, like empty promises, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna pick you up this weekend and we're gonna go do this, that, and the other. And I would literally be like sitting outside on the porch with all my stuff packed, just waiting for him to come and pick me up, and he never shows up. And then for a while there, like as a child, there's a lot of blank space. But then my next like core memory, and I will never forget, I was in high school, and he had always kind of been in and out of contact with my mom for their own relationship reasons, like nothing to do with me. And I remember she kept putting pressure on me to be like, your dad really wants to talk to you. He wants to get to know you. He wants to do this. He wants to do that. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready for that. Like on top of all the other shit that I went through, like I just don't want to add this to my plate right now, you know? And so I remember one time, he was on the phone with her, and she was like, okay, you don't have to talk, just listen. Like, just be there and hear him out and whatever. So I did. I listened to, you know, the whole conversation. I can't remember exactly what he was telling me, but I remember sitting there listening to it. And then after that conversation, my mom was like, so what do you think? And I'm like, I still have reservations. Like, I don't know if I want to pursue this, you know? Like, it's almost like how you asked if I have, like, held it against him. I think in that moment, my biggest reservation was like, why now? Like, you had so much time, you know, and the fact that you're picking and choosing when you want to be involved, like, why now? And for whatever reason, she could not understand that. But I also think it was just her own biases that got in the way of that. That she was like, I don't know, like I said, like they've always had their own relationship. So it's almost like what's in the best interest of her too. And like, oh yeah, it's still your dad. But anyways, so she eventually ended up tricking me into seeing him. Yeah. So she told my siblings and I that we were going to go get ice cream. And we were so excited to go get ice cream or whatever. And we're on the drive and she's like pulling into this neighborhood. And I'm like, what are we doing? And we park and she physically took me to this man's house. And so in that situation, I had no where to turn. Like I had no say. I was forced into it. And I still, she has the picture up on her Facebook too of that day. Like she made me take a picture with him. And you can just see in my face, like I'm like smiling in the picture, but how uncomfortable I am. Yeah. You know? And
it's kind of, it was kind of like putting up this facade of like, let me show the world that like they're good.
Yeah, but like, it was totally against my will. Like not what I wanted. So then that kind of started a little bit of a relationship during my high school years. I do think that he is the type of like father or like man, not really. Well, I could say like machista, but like not like just the possessiveness of that characteristic.
Okay. So like, not so full on.
Yes.
But he still has some like characteristic traits of that.
Yeah. Where it was like, oh, I wasn't there to like raise you, but I'm still gonna have these rules and expectations for you. Or like, oh, one thing that would bother me so bad is whenever we were over there, we could not eat until he had his plate and like sat down, said like a little prayer, and then he took his first bite. And like, I remember it's so prevalent because my littlest sibling, I remember that was like at 4 or 5 years old, that was instilled in her. Like she had to sit there and wait, even though she had her plate sitting in front of her, she had to sit down and wait and watch dad and make sure dad took his first bite before she could eat. But it's like little things like that for him to have that sense of possession or control. Yeah. And to this day, I feel like that's been his only motivation to like claim, I guess, a lot of the children that he has. Yeah. It's more of like, I'm just gonna claim you because you are like genetically a piece of me. Yeah. But like, even though I had no hand in like raising you or anything like that, you're still a part of me. And so it's that possessiveness. Like, I don't know how else to explain it.
No, yeah, it's like when they say just because
you planted the seed type
you thing. Planted the seed, or just because we're like biologically related, it doesn't make you a father. Yeah. Like, you created me, but a father figure is the person who raises you and cares for you and such. No,
that's what I say is like that he is my biological father, but he was never a dad. He never
took on the full responsibility.
Yeah. And if he ever did, because like I said, there are some good memories. Yeah. But if he ever did, it was all under his terms. It was all on his terms. Like, it was never consistent. Yeah. So, yeah.
You can almost say it was only when it was convenient for him.
Oh yeah, for sure. I've always said that. And I've said, and that's the reason for me setting the boundaries that I did set with both my parents, was I'm not a convenience, and now that I have my kids, they are not a convenience. You can't do this anymore. Like, I am going to be the reason that this whole in and out whenever you please stops. Yeah.
You set your foot down.
Yeah. And so yeah, we talked for the most part, like throughout my entire high school, up until my son was a few months old, I had a pretty consistent relationship with my dad. And he was doing really well, you know, married again. But he had a job. They bought a house together. Like, he had it going really good for him. But it was just those characteristics that never really, like...
sit well with you.
Yeah. And the last time that I spoke to my dad... him and my husband actually got into an altercation. And that was kind of the like cherry on top for me to be like, yep, nope, I can't do this. Like, it's a never ending cycle and I need to be the stop to it. And so that's the last time that I have seen or heard from my dad. My oldest son is now 7 years old. So it's been since then I have had no communications with him. But I have been kind of like kept in the loop by some family members that have had some conversations with him. And his arrest record in our county has kept me real updated.
Oh.
So, yeah. But that's the thing is like he always goes back and forth. Like I said, he's always had his fair share of struggles.
Yeah.
But that's one thing that's like kind of bothered me too, is I'm like, you need to heal yourself first. Like, because I can't keep letting you into my life, like not knowing what version of you I'm going to get. Like, cause you have these really good streaks where it's really good, but then when it gets bad, it gets really bad.
Yeah.
And like, I can't keep putting myself in the midst of that. And that's when, I've always told Billy that. I'm like, while I would love to, because they say too, people that are like going through addiction struggles specifically need a lot of like support, right? But I can't put myself in that position to do that for you when I have so much more at stake. Maybe if it was just me, right? But the fact that I have an entire family that this can come back on, I can't do that. Like, I can't risk myself like that.
Yeah. Also,
that's kind of just...
I think when you're a child, you can... I mean, like you said, your mom kind of put you in that position of like, I'm forcing you to see your dad type of thing. And again, when you're a child, you're a little bit more naive. You're a little bit kind of more like, I guess, how do you say this? Open to like keeping that relationship going. But it gets to a point where, because you realize that these adults aren't making the effort and the choices that are needed in order to continue nurturing these relationships, you have to make those choices yourself now that you can as an adult. But it sucks because as parents, regardless of the fact that we're adults now, you're still a parent. And it sucks that you can't show up for me the way I need you to. And it sucks that I have to be left with that decision.
Well, and they're holding that expectation to you equally. Like, that expectation is equal. And it's like, no. Because, like, you had mentioned in your video talking about your dad, how he was the phone works both ways type guy. My dad was the exact same way.
At the age of 10, 11,
it's like
when I'm a child.
The phone works both ways. And one thing that my mom and I did agree on, which in turn was, like, super hypocritical of her because she ended up doing the same exact thing. But... she and I were always on the same page as far as it is not my job to chase him. Yeah. It's not my job as the child, because like you said, no matter how old you get, you may be an adult now, but that is still your parent. It is not my job to chase after you.
Why are you having grown adult expectations for a child? Yeah. Let a child be a child.
Right. And and then it's also just putting a stop to that like cycle.
Because again, when you're young, you can't do that. And you become an adult and you're left with this decision, which again, it's so empowering. Oh yeah. But it's also sad in a way, because it's like, I can decide for myself and you don't get a say anymore just because you're my parent. But it's also sad that you put me in this position.
Right. Because it's not necessarily what I want, but it is what's in the best interest.
For myself and my kids, because you didn't make me a priority in your life. You made me a convenience. And I'm choosing to make my kids a priority. Right. And myself.
It just goes back to like protecting them the way that you weren't protected in all areas.
You mentioned your stepdad, right? And you also mentioned that his family was also in the picture. I guess you can answer this, but it's kind of like two questions. So one, how did your stepdad take over that like paternal figure in your life, since your dad wasn't really, he was in and out, inconsistent? And also, how was it? I mean, 3 families pretty much, you and your mom's, your dad's, and then your stepdad's family. So like, how was it navigating like all of that? This? Like, it seems like a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot. I think because my biological dad, so like my dad, he didn't really have like a lot of family here. He had one brother and his mom, who was also struggling on and off with addiction. So we weren't super close to her. We would see her like occasionally, but I don't think I ever really fully built like that bond. I do have a lot of pictures when I was younger with her, but again, for whatever reason, like distance, the distance came and went. And then his dad, like I said, lived out of state, and they have his dad and his dad's wife, so my grandma and my grandpa that live out of state, they have 2 boys of their own as well, and they also lived out of state. So I got to form those relationships with them, like
in high school.
Those close relationships with them, like, but it was more over the phone relationship, so it wasn't super hard to like balance, I guess.
Yeah.
But here, I mainly just had like my stepdad's family, and then my mom's side. My mom's side also isn't very big, so it's my stepdad's family that's like super extended. But I enjoyed that, like you said, like being at grandparents' house and seeing cousins all the time and stuff like that. Like I loved it, and they were like a super big part in raising me. They played a really big part in raising me. A lot of the opportunities that I had when I was a child, I did like the baile folclórico.
Oh yeah, the dress.
I can't like say it off the tongue like that, but
folklórico.
Yeah. I did that for a lot of the years. My aunt was actually like an instructor. My aunt on my stepdad's side. Yeah, so we danced together. A lot of like the sports and stuff that I was in was because of my grandparents and you know, other family members helping out. So yeah, I had really good memories with them. It wasn't ever like, it didn't feel like too much until the sexual assault came out.
Okay.
And then that's kind of when everything took a turn. But as far as like my stepdad's role in things, I think the biggest thing as far as like stepping in as that like dad figure was just the sense of stability. Like that's when we had the, you know, financial stability, and like I had 2 parents, you know, like a working mom, and then my stepdad was working, and we were able to, you know, they bought their first house, and I think that's the biggest thing that he like provided, was the sense of just a little bit more stability for us.
I'm gonna ask this question because I wouldn't know your perspective, because when I was told that I was having younger siblings, I was so mad. How do you feel when you learned that you were having younger siblings?
So the age gap between me and my brother from my mom is like 18 months. So we've always just grown up, like we were really close. Yeah. With my youngest sister, I remember that being like, she was always like the baby, you know? But that didn't really like bother me necessarily. She was really premature, and my mom went through like a lot with her pregnancy with her. Yeah. So I think everybody just really like, I don't know, was like nurturing type of like, and there was like a lot of empathy there. The one that's hard to grasp is all of the siblings from my dad. Yeah, it is like never ending, and we always used to like make fun and be like, my dad is literally like a rabbit, like the breeding like a rabbit, like just has so many freaking kids. So I would say when I would find out about new ones, it was a little bit upsetting, especially like now when I find out like all the kids that he's continuing to have at his grown ass age. Yeah. And I think that's just frustrating, because like it's like, not only are you like taking that opportunity from us, like as the siblings, to be able to like show up for those kids as siblings, but like who knows if you're even showing up as a good dad, considering you didn't even take care of the kids that you already have, and here you are continuing to have more. Like I just would hope that you are showing up for them the way that you didn't show up for us, because that would suck to know that not only are they missing out on a good father figure, but they're also missing out on the rest of the family that they have, like with us as siblings and things like that, that we don't get that chance to be involved in. So yeah, I guess I can go into a little bit about like the sibling part of it too, because that's entertaining. My oldest brother and I, like I mentioned, I didn't find out about my oldest brother until we were going to high school together. And my aunt was actually the one that like spilled the beans on that one. And she was like, how is it going to school with your brother? And in my mind, I was thinking of like my brother that's 18 months younger than me. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I see him every day. Like, what do you mean? What's it like? And she was like, no, not him. And she like said his name. She was like, and I was like, who's that? And she was like, oh, you didn't know? And I was like, oh no. Mind you, like I said, my aunt is like a separate, like another mom to me. Like she's the one that first let me shave my legs and like just all of these, you know, things. So yeah, she was really like open with me about communication and conversations. And yeah, so come to find out, I had this older sibling who I at the time went to high school with. He was, or is I should say, 6 months older than me. So his mom and my mom were pregnant at the same time. Yeah. And then it's me. And then I have my 18-month younger brother from my mom. And then my dad had got remarried. He had 2 of my siblings with his first marriage, which I still talk to them. I'm really close with them and their family too. I love their family. And then it's my sister from my mom, who is 4 or 5 years younger than me. It's hard to keep all the ages straight. And then my dad went and had my youngest sibling that I like had actually gotten to meet and like knew of. And that was with his last marriage where I said they had like a house together and he was really stable. That's the last wife also that I have physically met and that I was around for. And then since then he's had 3 or 4 more kids with various other women that I have not met. So I think, so my oldest sibling is 6 months older than me, and I'll be 27 in October, so he's already 27. And then my youngest sibling is as young as, I think, like 1 year old, about to be 1 in like December. Yeah. So, yeah.
Wow, you've got quite the family tree.
I know.
Gosh. I feel like you'll be that person in like history books where it's like Desiree Solis. Yeah. And then
it's like
a bunch of like little branches. Branches. Like
we always, my siblings and I would always make jokes, and we would be like, it was like nerve-wracking going to school and seeing somebody that like looked like us, because we were like, oh, maybe there's another one.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Sorry to get dark and gloomy.
Oh, here we go.
You mentioned essay.
Yeah.
I hate to ask it, but what was that like? I mean, I know from TikTok, that's where I first learned about, and I remember when we had our whole ordeal and our whole drama, whatever happened, I remember feeling so bad when I learned about it on TikTok, because we were still not on good terms. We weren't speaking at all. I think we still had some kind of hatred towards each other. And, excuse me, I remember watching your video and wondering, oh my gosh, is this like the nerve I struck?
Yeah.
And I remember feeling so bad. I mean, like I was like, oh, I hope it wasn't that, because if it was that, I'm a shitty fucking person. Yeah. But it kind of helps that I really didn't know what I was talking about. Yeah. So again, intent goes way beyond. Yeah. But yeah, I learned about it from there. So you can go into her TikTok, kind of get a little insight. But what was that like? Did your family know? Did your grandparents know? What happened?
Yeah. So, yeah, it became an entire family ordeal. My first experience with SA actually happened by a family friend. So I unfortunately have 2, I don't know what you would call them, like assailants, like perpetrators, whatever. 2 men in my life that had taken advantage of me as a child. And so the family friend was the first occurrence. And I think that happened when I was like 4 or 5 years old. He babysat my brother and I for literally like one night, and it happened. And I think that I was, for one, in shock, and for two, I don't even think at that age I had the capability and like knowledge to even speak up on what happened. Yeah. Like to even know, like
this was something so new to you.
Yeah, that it was just like, I don't know. So I didn't speak up about that one until way later. And then it was almost immediately after that. And this is where I say things kind of get confusing trying to process as an adult, because it was like the way that things happened, the relationship between this family friend and the family member that started, to take advantage. A lot of those, like I said, like puzzle pieces that I'm trying to put together now that paint a whole different picture that would be a whole like rabbit hole on its own.
Yeah.
So almost immediately after the family friend was when the family member started.
Yeah.
And I remember when it had first happened, it was one of those early occurrences. I don't know if it was exactly the first time that I told my mom what was going on. And her response and the way that she was gonna like fix that situation wasn't gonna be to like call the cops or do anything about that. Her solution, that's the word I was looking for, solution. Her solution was to call me in to like a little meeting where she basically asked him, like, is this true? He confirmed it. He said it was true. And it was basically a slap on the wrist, like, it better not ever happen again. And that obviously wasn't enough. It kept happening.
Yeah.
For 8 years. I was in the 5th grade, going into 6th grade, when, it finally stopped. And I think during that time, because in my mind, I went to the person that was supposed to protect me, and I went to the person that, like,
was supposed to do anything for you in the world.
I basically was like, well, I just have to, like, deal with it. Like, I just have to put up with it. Yeah.
No one else will.
Exactly. And I was just like, well, I went to the number one person that is supposed to be there to protect me, my mom. And this was her response. So this must be normal. This is my normal. Like, this is just, I'm just going to have to put up with it. It
must not be that bad.
Yeah. And like I said, as a child, you don't fully grasp what it is that's happening. So like, I think that's where a little bit of the shame comes from when you get older and you realize how like bad it is. But like when you're a child, you don't feel that way because you don't know any other, like you don't know any different.
8 years is a long time.
It's a long time. Yeah. And I remember, I will never forget, I don't know if I should shout out his name, but the friend that literally, I like to say, like, he saved me. Mm-hmm. And, this is where I might get emotional. I didn't think I was going to cry. But, so we were at recess, and I remember 2 of my closest friends, we were standing by like the basketball courts or whatever. And I don't know what came over me, but I literally just decided to tell them. Yeah. I was like, this is what's been going on. And, didn't make anything of it. I don't really remember their response or anything like that. But that next day, turns out like the night that I told him, he went home and told his mom. And his mom called the school right away, reported it to them. And the next day, I got called into the principal's office, and CPS was there, the detectives were there, and that basically started the whole chain of everything that happened after. Yeah, so I met with them, basically repeated my story to them. And then I think it might have been at that point that I did mention the family friend too, because I remember during some of my interviews with the family member, that there was kind of that crossover between like questions about the family member and the family friend.
Like they might have known each other.
Oh, they knew each other. Yeah.
Oh yeah, family friend.
Yeah.
Family. Yeah.
But I just mean like I think that investigations kind of like crossed over.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I just remember, you know, they took me home, told my mom everything and what was going to happen and whatever. And then I guess as soon as he got home from work that day, as soon as he pulled in his driveway, they took him from there. And yeah, so that, like I said, started kind of like the chain of everything that happened after.
Before we get too far into it, I want to ask, because again, 8 years is such a long time, and you're a survivor, right?
Oh, but I hate that.
It sucks.
I literally, I battle this all the time. I don't know, because I don't want to call myself a victim, but I also hate calling myself a survivor too. Like, I'm like, why are those the two words that I have to use? I don't know how else to.
You know, I think survivor, because it's uncomfortable.
I feel like
you're not exposed to these things.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to be exposed to these things at such a young age.
Yeah.
So when you are, it's something so foreign, something so intimate and so personal. Again, shame is accompanied by that.
Yes,
right?
So that's what I was just about to say. I think that it's so uncomfortable, that word survivor. It's so uncomfortable that it's almost like, not saying I don't deserve it, but it's just like, oh, like, I don't know, but I am I? It's like the shame or like questioning it mixed with the uncomfortability. Is that a word?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
So going into my question, how did you survive those 8 years? You lived a completely different life in school. And then whenever you were exposed to the environment of this person, did you dread it? Did you dread being near this person? Or because you said like it was, when you did decide to tell your mom, you questioned the whole like severity of this.
Yeah.
To a point where like, okay, maybe it's normal.
Yeah.
Or were you kind of just expecting it whenever you're around this person? After it happened, I mean, what would you tell yourself? Would you try to like gaslight yourself into thinking it was normal, into thinking it was okay? Do you resent this person? I mean, 8 years?
Yeah.
How did you make it through?
I think the biggest thing was like disassociation and like completely removing myself from, and like almost accepting that that's just how things were. And so
the cards you were dealt.
And so when I got put in situations where I was with that family member and I had that expectation, like, okay, like I already know what's gonna happen, then that being my cue to like just remove myself.
Disassociate.
Because there are things, like core things that I do remember, but I haven't had the strength or will, or I don't even know if I'd want to explore like EMDR to bring, but at the same time, like I said, like going through childhood trauma and then like processing that as an adult, I do battle with myself, like, am I fully going to be able to process it if I don't know the extent of it?
Yeah.
Because then it's like, what if I'm encountering all these different triggers that I don't even know are triggers? Yeah. Because I can't recognize them right away, because I can't identify them, because I don't know the full extent of what happened. Like, so there's all these like what ifs, I guess. But I think that's the biggest thing in the moment that like got me through was just the disassociation and just like completely removing myself from being there in that moment. While there are some that are really like prevalent and like details that I remember, for the most part, I think that I just completely blocked it. Yeah. Blocked it out.
And I think, being young, and when you talk about 5th grade, people think, oh, they're older, you're still a kid. If you have a 5th grader in your house, if you have a 6th grader, please look at them right now, because a lot of them still like dolls. A lot of them still watch cartoons. A lot of them still like to build bracelets.
If their innocence is preserved, they're still kids.
Now imagine that being ripped from them. Imagine
such a young age.
At such a young age. It is a young age. So I'm sorry you had to go through that. Yeah. Other than your mom, who else found out? who else knew?
Okay, so
After this person was, taken into custody, how did that play out?
Oh my gosh.
And how did it affect you? Because I know from firsthand, a lot of victims are blamed.
Yes.
And are made to feel like, well, if you hadn't done this or that. So how did it play out for you?
Yeah, so that definitely happened for me. And that was still is a big part of the boundaries that I keep with family now. So while beforehand, before any of this came out, we were a tight-knit family, always together. Everyone was, happy-go-lucky. After he was arrested and eventually like the entire family found out, we went from being like this really, tight-knit family, tight-knit, community, I guess, to there definitely being some, like you mentioned, some like victim blaming and victim shaming that actually ended up getting in the middle of the investigation. So after it had all come out, he had, unfortunately for me, he had a lot of people that were in his corner and a lot of people that backed him. And maybe that was their own struggle with accepting that he was doing what he was doing or whatever. But for whatever reason behind them defending him, it also just did not validate me in any way. And I was actually physically told by a couple family members that I needed to go and tell the detectives that I lied. Yeah. And I just remember me feeling so like small. Like I was in this position where I was again around people that I trusted and that I thought loved me and cared about me and had always been there for me. So like, why are you not there now?
Now trying to manipulate you.
Yeah. And that's exactly what it was, trying to manipulate me. And it was all for the benefit of saving face. And being like, and you know how it's really well known like that, like toxic Mexican culture, where it's like you not airing out your dirty laundry all to save. That was their biggest thing, was like saving their reputation as like a family. Yeah. And like not wanting everybody to know what's going on. And so that's very much so what it was. I was being told like, we can't let this ruin, again, the family's reputation and like things like that. And it was almost formed in the way of like, not only are you going to go and tell them that you lied, but you need to believe that you lied. Yeah. And it was like, you only did this for attention. That you only did this for, and I was like, but I didn't. But again, like I said, in that moment, I felt so small. Like I felt like kind of like ganged up on and again, let down by somebody that should have been there to protect me. And so I actually did. In my next interview, I went and I told them that I lied. And at this point, they were able to clock it like right away. They were like, no, you didn't. They had plenty of evidence. And just by like the things that I had told them to, and then whatever happened during their investigation, like they knew. And so their first question was, who told you to say that? Yeah. And so it took a minute. Like I did not want to like, snitch on them or anything.
They were already ganging up on you.
Yeah. So, but then also having that mindfulness of like the authority that these police officers have, I was just like, I told them, the family members that had tried to manipulate me and convince me to say that, and they actually charged them. I don't know if it was like a full-on charge or what it was in the investigation. They set up some kind of limits, essentially for them like bribing me, like for bribery. And we were not allowed to have any contact with those family members for the remainder of the investigation. Yeah. So it was a good, I think like a year, that we spent not coming around them. So it just created like a really big divide in the family. I had plenty of people on my side that supported me, but there were also, like I said, unfortunately, a lot of people that defended him.
Fair share of people that.
Yeah. And to this day, that gets in between our relationship. And that is why I've said, chose to set the boundaries that I have. Because as a child, going back to how I said I felt so small and felt like you know, those people are supposed to be the ones to protect me and all those things. I tried for so long afterwards to continue to have a relationship with some of those people. And the fact that they had never fully like acknowledged that what had happened.
Yeah.
Like whether you like it or not, it happened. And so the fact that there's no acknowledgement, there's no accountability for the part that you played in my pain and my suffering through those childhood years of mine. No apology, no recognition, no nothing. It was just, I was supposed to just show up and continue to act like everything was fine. But then they would throw little jabs about like how, oh my God, I can't even tell you how many times I would hear like how messed up his life is now, that he had to like serve time and that's on his record. And poor him that he has to rebuild his life after this.
Poor him, grown as adult, has to suffer the consequences of his own actions. His own fucking actions.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, poor him. Yeah. But like I said, never any acknowledgement. It was always like, that's what I was always think to myself. What about me?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, poor him that he has to rebuild now. I have to deal with this for the rest of my life.
Are you kidding me? He ruined my innocence.
Yeah.
He took the one thing that was most valuable to me as a child.
And going back to that, let me just say our justice system is a fucking joke. So he ended up serving, I don't know, I want to say 2 years. I don't know what his sentence was necessarily. I do remember that we were going to go to trial because he was going to plead not guilty. And I remember having to do like a tour of the courthouse where they showed me, you know, gave me a little bit better understanding as a kid having to go into this and testify. They showed me like where he would be sitting, where I would be standing, where the judge would be, that I didn't have to look at him while I was speaking, and, you know, going through basically everything that a trial entails, trying to dumb it down for a freaking child, you know, to be ready to experience. And
instead of going to first day of school orientation, you were going to a fucking
courthouse
for trial orientation.
Yeah, to get ready to testify. Yeah. And I remember he changed his plea to guilty. And the way that was communicated to me was like he was doing me a favor.
I will say, I fucking hate that.
Yeah, they were like, he didn't want you to have to go through that. So he decided to plead guilty.
Be grateful. He did something for you.
God forbid he like takes a freaking oath to tell the truth when it comes to this stuff, and that's what he's doing. Like, he's telling the truth. Like, he's not doing me any favors. Yeah. He's owning up in a way to his actions, but it's formed in the way of like, oh, but you should be grateful that he's like owning up to it. And it's like, but it shouldn't have happened in the first place.
Exactly.
Like, so
I think also it's because people, again, and I tell you, please look at a 5th grader right now. Actually, no, don't even look at a 5th grader. Look at a 5-year-old, 6-year-old, because that's how old you were when it started. And I think, I almost feel like when your family found out about this, they didn't view you as a 5-6-year-old that went through this. It's like, I think they viewed you as this girl who was stepping into like puberty and like adolescent years. They didn't view you as, dude, it started when I was closer to being an infant than I was to being a teen. And that's sad. Yeah, it is. Shame on them.
What else was I going to say about that? Oh, yeah, about the justice system. I can go into it a little bit more because this comes kind of like after the fact and after I've had to like deal with some things. But again, finding more things out as you're an adult and have the capacity to ask the questions and, you know, all those things. Yeah, I found out a lot more that I didn't know about the way that the justice system worked and the role that they played in a lot of it, because I guess to sum it up, come to find out, part of his plea deal was that after 12 years, he does not even have to, what's the word? He doesn't even have to register as a as a registered sex offender anymore.
I hate the plea deals.
And so that is the reason that I say, when they're saying, oh, poor him, he has to rebuild his life. Okay, but on record, it goes away.
Yeah.
For him, it goes away. And
at least he gets a chance to rebuild his life. I have to live this with me for the rest of my life.
And like the constant, like I said, like identifying triggers and trying to figure out, like, it's constant healing. It's
constant feeling bad and grieving
and having to pick yourself back up.
Yeah.
Like, it's that constant work of having to go through that process where you're like, or going through those days where you're feeling down, or you're feeling whatever you're feeling about it, and having to put in the work and do, like I said, the whole process of healing and pick yourself back up from it. Like that, I will always have to do that.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. I'm laughing. I'm just thinking right now about the episode title and like all this stuff, and I'm like, they're gonna think what? We're trauma bonding, bro.
Oh my god.
They're gonna think these bitches don't like each other. They're trauma bonding. They've just been through some dark shit and find comfort in each other.
Well, you're the only one that will listen.
Shut up. You're the only one that understands me. That's not at all what it is.
I know.
I'm so sorry. I was like, I have to tell you this.
No, but speaking of like understanding, that's one thing that I wanted to say too about like the whole like support thing. Because I had mentioned to you in our like brief conversation beforehand, that I feel like I had a lot of people that showed up to support me, because like people that he was close to did still show up to support me. I remember I think it was the first night that everything had come out, we had a bunch of family members show up to the house. And I remember one of my aunts, she came into my room and she was crying, you know, and I was already in bed and all the adults were out there talking or whatever. And she came into my room and she gave me a big hug and she was crying, and she was always like, I'm so sorry, Mija, like you didn't deserve to like go through that, and I believe you. And to this day, she's been one of the family members that, you know, still tries to keep in touch. And she's always been adamant on like, I believe you. And that's been like the biggest thing for me, is like, I don't care because obviously we have family members in common. So I can't have that expectation that everybody's going to cut you off in the same way that I did, right? And I respect that. I am very respectful of the fact that like, just because that was my interaction with that family member doesn't mean that that needs to be your story with them. Like, you can form your own relationship with them, right? And do whatever you please and have that be separate from me. But unfortunately, like with cutting off some of these family members, a lot of others almost came as like collateral damage, where like it wasn't the intent for it to be like a straight slice through you too. But I also never got that validation from you either. Like, you kind of were just enabling it, you know? And I will say that one aunt has always been one that has never, like, she has her own relationship with that family member that took advantage of me, but she's never made it a point to like bring up that relationship with him to me. Whenever she's with me, it's strictly, I believe you, I'm sorry you went through that. Like, you know, it never wavers. And I feel like with some of the others, they can't draw that line. And that's what makes it hard, is because I don't want to be told like
to change my truth.
Like, that's not, I don't know.
No, you can definitely keep both relationships, but don't disrespect my truth. Don't belittle me. Don't, how do you say,
disregard and completely ignore the fact that it happened.
Don't take the importance away from my story and my experience. And if she respects that, that is good. But for everyone else, I feel like some people can't tell the difference between like keeping that separate, where they feel like, I can't have a relationship with you unless you agree that this person's innocent. Unless you change your mindset, and unless you say that you lie, type of thing.
And it was just like I said, because I got a lot of that like blame too at the beginning, I don't know if they'll ever fully be able to come around to the fact that like, it's almost like the reality of it. Like I said at the beginning, whether you like it or not. And I think it's just a constant state of denial and not wanting to accept that that's what happened.
Yeah.
And so because I'm the one that decided to speak up and I'm the one that went through it or whatever, then it's like the blame's on me for it, you know? And I've accepted that in a way, like not to the point where I'm necessarily okay with it, but I think acceptance and like being okay with it can be two separate things. Like I've just accepted that that is what it is.
You've come to terms.
Yeah. And I will act accordingly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I had a lot of people show up physically to support me. I just think I never really got that emotional support that I needed.
Yeah.
And that comes from, a lot of family members. My mom fell short in a lot of those ways.
That's my next question. Can I go into that?
Yeah.
Which it ties into this. When this happened, was that the earliest memory of feeling like your parent failed to protect you, or had you felt that from your mom? I don't want to even ask about your dad because he wasn't really in the picture, but
Right.
with your mom, were there kind of like signs where like could have led you to like expect that from her, that reaction from her,
100%.
where like, well, I expected this from you, you know, or like, was it a shock to you?
I think it was consistently not showing up for me. And so I don't think it was ever a shock, but it was always holding on to a little bit of hope that maybe now she'll do the right thing. Maybe now
this is
she'll do the right thing.
important enough for her to change.
And it was always like constantly being let down that I was just like, okay, like I can't have this expectation of you. Like you failed to do your job. Like it sucks to say, but you did. And again, coming back to accountability, and the reason that we don't have a relationship to this day is the lack of the accountability when it comes to that. Like you are not, for whatever reason, she is not able to own up to her shortcomings as a parent. And she has plenty of them. And it's not necessarily that I want her to feel bad or feel shitty or be like, shame on you, you didn't do this, but accountability in like, I've always said this, and in our situation too, I don't need an apology from you. Your recognition is enough. Yeah. Like for you to just recognize what you did.
That you played your part and the way you played it had an impact on me.
But the fact that you won't even do that, like, okay, I can't move forward.
Yeah.
And, so I think her failing to protect me started when I first told her what happened. Because if you think about that, if she would have made the right decision to get the authorities involved or even just separate us from him in the long run, like from that day forward, how many years
would she have saved you?
Would she have saved me?
Yeah.
And so, that is my earliest memory. And that's again why I didn't speak up to her anymore.
She put her best interest before yours.
Yes. In like her
maintaining
benefit.
certain people around and how it benefited her.
Absolutely. And she continued to do that. So that was a big part in our downfall in our like mother-daughter relationship. After he was in jail, she went to visit him. She had constant communications with him. After he got out, she would go on like lunch outings with him. He obviously isn't allowed to be around anyone under the age of 18 at this time. So he would still go to like family functions where kids weren't present, and she would put herself in those in situations, environments. I distinctly remember one time she was picking me up from cheer practice, and she was having car troubles, and she didn't tell me any of this. I just kind of just knew when it came time for her to pick me up from practice, and she was driving his car. And that was just like like that's almost like a direct insult. Yeah. Like you are physically showing me like that you do not care.
Like this belongs to this person, but I don't give a shit how it makes you feel. Yeah.
And oh my gosh, I remember Christmases, she would make it a point. There was one Christmas where he got me and my siblings gifts, and she like made it a point to say that they were from him. And like, I don't know.
And this was after he got out of jail.
Oh yeah. This was after he had already been tried, convicted, spent his time, and it was still back to
evidence and everything laid out on the table. And wow.
Everything. And
wow, as if I don't know this.
I know. Tell me more. As if you don't already know all the details. Yeah, so I remember that being like a really big thing for me. I'm like, wow, this is just showing that you're like your true colors. Like you're continuing to not only did you not protect me when you had the power to do so, but then like after the fact,
even after you knew, you continue to
like after it is completely like
try to
solidified.
Force this person. I'm like, okay, because I know I just said like I know all this. I don't know all the details,
right?
Because I mean, right now Desi's getting to just talk fully on her story. Before, like other conversations, it was back and forth. So everything would get lost in translation.
Yeah.
But it's almost like how she tried to force your dad into your life. She was trying to force this person into your life as well for her benefit. Oh, yeah. Still.
Yep. And so like I said, this kind of started like the downfall of our relationship because I had mentioned how I have always been like super vocal with like my feelings and, you know, confronting my parents when it comes to things. And this was one thing that I confronted her on. And I was like, why are you doing this? Like, you know, it's wrong. You're not doing your job as a mother. And that was her favorite card to pull too. Whenever like we would get into arguments is, oh, I'm such a bad mom. And like, you guys had it the worst and I've never done anything for you. And she would like go and like lock herself in the room.
Flipping it and going into full on victim mentality.
Yes. And like just completely being like emotionally unstable. And
you've mentioned before that you felt like you had to parent your parents.
Yes. And I feel like she has, I've said this in my TikTok videos too, I feel like she has a lot of like narcissistic tendencies. Maybe not a full-on narcissist, but she definitely has some like tendencies there. Like there's some characteristics there. And so she would do that. And then in this specific argument, I just remember we were in the bathroom, so we were kind of like cornered. And she was just telling me that I needed to learn to forgive. That like basically like people make mistakes. Yeah. And I just have to forgive.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And also throwing into the like mix where he stood in the family, like as a family member.
Yeah.
She was basically making his role in the family like really prevalent too. And she was like, basically because of where he stood in the family, she couldn't like just cut him off like that. Like that's not that easy. And I'm just like, during the mix of this, I'm just like, I have no other response than I'm your daughter. Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm your daughter.
How am I not more important than this person?
Yeah. And
did you kind of get like a feeling of hatred towards her?
Oh yeah. I think that I've always
like resentment. It's a word.
Yeah. Even now, I always say that I will always have love for my mom because I do love her. I do not like her as a person. Yeah. And so I feel like I can have that. Like there's a good difference between that. Like I can love her from a distance. I can love her because she's my mom, but I don't have to like her. Yeah. And that's why I have the boundaries that I have with her. Yeah. And there was a lot of other things at play. Her relationship with my dad was a big one. While he was married, she was actively in ongoing like affairs with him while he was married that I knew about. Yeah. It wasn't like they were trying to keep it a secret. They were very open with it. Around us, at least.
I want to ask, now that you're speaking about your dad, you mentioned you got in touch with your grandparents from his side in your high school years, right? Do they know? Yes. When they found out, how was that for them? And I mean, years after the fact, I mean, this is not something you're going to overcome ever in your life. Right. You can only make terms with it, like you said. But were they able to show you support? How did they show you the support?
Oh, absolutely. So, they showed me a lot of support. And like I mentioned before, to this day, they show me like a ton of support. But their first response when they found out, because I feel like a lot of the people that found out from my mom know the very tip of the iceberg.
And
they don't know the extent of it. They don't know like...
And they know whatever version she wanted to tell.
Yes, and they know her version of events. And so I think those early years, we never really like talked about it, but they knew of it. And then obviously when I got old enough to form my own adult relationship with them and opened up with them my version of events and the extent of the situation and the fact that my mom knew, because they didn't know that either. And I'm sure that's one thing that she keeps to herself too. Yeah. Because she doesn't want any...
she plays dumb.
Yeah.
If she played dumb with them, she probably played dumb with everyone else. Oh, I didn't know. Yep. Oh, my poor... Yeah.
Yeah. And so after that, it became a battle for them, because they had always been thankful and grateful for my mom that she allowed them a relationship with me, since my dad wasn't like in the picture to do that, like to facilitate that.
He wasn't the one initiating that relationship.
So she, I mean, she would be the one that would like, quote unquote, like allow me to go on these vacations with them and allow me to have communication with them. Like she was, she facilitated that, you know, she played the middle ground in...
I mean, as your guardian, she has to give the permission. So,
So after they knew the extent of it, it was a lot of like shame on her. And a lot of like, while we are grateful that she gave us the opportunity with you that she did,
it's just like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, exactly. And so they've made that very clear that, you know, they stand with me always. Yeah. But yeah, I think that for a lot of people, and like my mom's side of the family too, like my aunt and my grandma and stuff, it is still something that I feel like we, like I mentioned, every time we talk about it, I feel like I learn new things because I know the questions to ask and stuff like that. It's never been something that they've fully like wanted to like talk about and dive really deep into.
But there were still people that if you needed help, and to this day, if you need something, they'll show up for you. Yeah, I mean, they were at your wedding. Yeah, it's on there. Yeah, and you guys visit them too, huh?
Oh,
Like once a year, you try to go.
Yeah. So at least once a year, we go out of state to see my grandparents. Yeah, we remember how I mentioned that we were thinking about moving like out of state to like Texas or Iowa. Yeah, those are all the places that they've lived before too. Okay. So we thought that would be, you know, because we'd be moving to a place where we would have somebody, you know. Yeah. But even like my mom's side, like my aunt and my grandma from my mom's side, they've been supportive in the same way. Yeah. And we see each other often, talk often, and everything. So.
Okay, so you mentioned that getting in touch with your grandparents as an adult, and you were able to have these adult conversations with them. I'm gonna piggyback off of that and ask, what was the difference in processing your childhood trauma as a child versus an adult, right? Because as a child, like I said, we talked, you're naive, right? And okay with it. As an adult, I feel like you get the perspective of what other adults should have done. What emotions were tied to that? We get the idea. I mean, you started cutting off people accordingly and behaving accordingly. Yeah. But I mean, how did you heal from that as an adult?
So as a child, I think processing it.
Not heal from it, come to terms with it.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. So I think as a child dealing with it, like you said, you have that like sense of being like naive, and it's a lot of big emotions that you don't know how to handle. And you're new to all of it. And part of, I think, the struggles of me healing as a child is not getting the help that I needed when I needed it. Because while I did go to therapy for a little while as a child, I think, this is just my assumption, I think that I only went as long as it was being paid for by the courts. Yeah. Because I remember not going for an extended period of time. Didn't do what it needed to do. Like I should have been in therapy, honestly, up until my adulthood, you're like consistently.
You're not gonna fix your self-abuse in 1 year of therapy.
Yeah, if that. And I just think that's another way that my mom fell short, was not supporting me in that way and getting me the help that I needed while I was younger. So yeah, as an adult or as a child going through it, it was a lot of just not having the resources and not knowing how to deal with what I was going through. So this is where I can mention like the suicidal ideations. I never had any like actual like suicide attempts or ever thinking that I wanted to act out on ending my life. But I remember, especially because the conversations with my mom were so rough because she was not at all on the same page with me.
Yeah.
That made it even more difficult that when I did have these like talks with her or whatever, when I did have these feelings, it was almost like I wish, it was more that I wish I never was around. I wish that, you know, I wouldn't have said anything. And as far as like physically hurting myself, I remember the only thing that I ever did was I went to the bathroom after one of these like conversations with my mom. And I remember looking myself in the mirror and just like clawing at myself, like scratching and like,
Like
and
all the built up, just anger.
That's what I mean.
And
it's just all these feelings that I didn't know how to process, that I didn't know how to express. And I was like taking it out on myself even more, you know? And so yeah, I never got to the point, thank God, of like actually wanting to end my life or like making the attempt, but the thoughts were definitely still there, and like a little bit of I'd say like self-harm was there too. Yeah. And then as an adult, it's breaking those habits as a child. I wouldn't say necessarily habits, but learning how to deal with it now, years later, when I should have started years before. Yeah. So I had mentioned that my very first experience with SA was from a family friend. I can go into that story a little bit now because that kind of is what led me to get into therapy as an adult. Okay. So my experience with this family friend went untold until that crossover between the investigation with my family member and him. But before that, it had also been brought up in conversation with my mom and this family member that ended up SAing me anyways. And she had asked me, she was like, did you ever have an uncomfortable situation with this person? Like, have you ever... And that's when I finally told her. I said, yes, like that day that you had him babysit my brother and I, this is what happened. And I like asked her why she was asking now, like why now? And I remember her telling me that multiple other little girls were coming forward. And so they were trying to kind of get an idea. How many? You know, I don't know what exactly happened with that information. The only thing that I was told by my mom was that they had no evidence to charge him. So it was kind of just like, yeah, all these people are coming forward and saying that he is a predator, but we can't do anything with it. Well, come to find out, this was 2020 or 2021. I was contacted by a detective that said that they were doing an investigation and that he had come up, he was named in I want to say 2001. I have the full story on my TikTok, but he ended up being identified by DNA in connection to a kidnapping and rape of a 12-year-old, I think she was, back in like early 2000s. Yeah. And so because they had on file my report from that crossover of the investigations, he called me in, and I basically got to tell him everything and then get that validation that like they believed that I was telling the truth, and that he unfortunately was just one that like slipped through the cracks for like so long, because all of these other girls had come forward at one point or another, but they just didn't have enough to like do anything. And so through meeting with the detectives and whatever, and I had a little breakdown because I also got to see the detective that worked on my case with my family member, and that just brought back like a flood of emotions. They did offer me resources with free therapy and things like that. So I took that opportunity and got into that like right away. So that whole process kind of started helping me get the tools that I needed to start healing now, like as an adult. And so, yeah, I started going to therapy. I learned a lot of like ways to identify like my triggers, which is so crazy because if you've experienced anything like this, they pop up out of nowhere. Like some of my triggers, like I said, that I'm still like learning about and learning how to identify, like I didn't even know was there. So for one was like Axe, the body products. That was a big trigger for me, like the smell.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't really identify that one until I think Billy was using it and he had to stop using it because I just like couldn't. Yeah. And another one that I wasn't able to identify until my kids were already born and, you know, watching TV or whatever was the show Power Rangers. Yeah. So that's what he would put on as like a distraction. Yeah, well, it was happening. And I knew of that detail, but I didn't feel those feelings until like my kids went to go put on Power Rangers one day and I had like a full on anxiety attack just by hearing it, you know? Yeah. So, yeah, learning how to identify my triggers and ground myself in those situations is huge. Basically, grounding is just like taking the time to focus your brain on the physical things that you're doing in this moment. So the way that she would like describe it to me is like you start from your feet to your head and you think, okay, my feet, what are they like feeling right now? Like, are they on the ground? Can you feel like if you're wearing socks, like you know, to try to distract your brain from the physical, from where you are physically. Yeah. It's basically trying to like separate you from taking you back to those moments. Yeah. And where you are currently right now. Like your safety, like knowing that you're in a safe zone. Yeah, it's taught me a lot. I was in therapy. I was also allowed given the opportunity to lead like a women's group. Yeah, so between my therapist and I, we started this like, well, we didn't start it, but she wanted me to be part of because she said that I was like, I got to the point of where I could speak about what had happened to me really well. And she thought that for a lot of people that aren't to that point yet, that would be like a really good, like mentor type thing. And, so I was a part of like a women's group where it was full of people who had experienced, SA in different ways. And that, kind of fulfilled again, like I had told you, like that, like therapists want to be part in me, you know? And, yeah, so like I said, it's still a learning process. As an adult, I still have constant things that I'm working on. Healing will always be like something that I have to work on. I still have a lot of questions. Through my therapist too, that's when I was able to find out about the whole plea deal and the 12-year and not having to register thing because they were able to pull up my court records. Yeah. And well, not my court records, but his court records on my case. And that's when I found out about all that because I was like, why isn't he registered anymore? Like,
what happened?
Yeah, what happened? Yeah. And the question there too was like, why wasn't I notified? Yeah. Like, why was there no notification that this was going to be happening? But they said that because it all happened when I was a minor, the notification might have been sent to my mom. And she didn't tell me.
I was going to say. Yeah. You mentioned the kids.
Yes.
AJ and Kingston. Which, by the way, we've talked about them being so in touch with their emotions. AJ for one, right? And
very vocal.
Obviously, it's not easy. It takes a lot to be able to raise children like that, that are in touch with their emotions. For parents to even have the patience to teach that. So, have those experiences that you've gone through impacted the way that you parent and impacted how you because not every kid is taught to express their emotions and they're also not made comfortable
with feeling them
and express them. And they're also, a lot of kids, like if something traumatic like this happens to them, they're sometimes even too afraid to say anything.
Yeah.
So how do you kind of instill that like openness or like that comfortability in them, and like you can tell me anything?
Well, I think for one, letting them know, keeping that like openness between us. So like little things like if AJ has like a crush at school, him being able to tell me, and it's all the way that you react as the parent too, that I think plays a really big part in it. Because if he tells me something in confidence and I like discipline him or shut him down for it, what makes you think he's gonna want to come and tell me something again? And like going through that as a child too, like what is the whole reason that you kept secrets from your parents? Because you thought you were gonna get in trouble for it. And so obviously there are limits to it, but I'm talking about like things at their young age, starting there. And the things that they can come and tell me, like that's why like when he tells me about like his feelings and things like that, or even when it comes to like him getting like in trouble and me disciplining him, I always try to like sit down and have a conversation with him afterwards. Like, yes, I might like yell at you in the moment and be like, don't do that, but I'm also going to tell you why you're not supposed to do that and give you that like insight.
Explanation. Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of kids like don't get. They just get the like, you have to do it because I said so. And then also not sugarcoating like private parts and like what is and isn't okay for like touch and things like that. Because I was never like taught that early on, and I didn't even have the opportunity to get taught that early on because all I knew was the bad touch, you know, from the start. And then after that too, when I felt like it was bad, it wasn't their reaction, my mom's reaction to me telling her that
made you feel like it was
made
normal.
it feel like so letting them know what's appropriate, what's not appropriate. Just letting them know that they can like come to me. Also like when it comes to play dates and sleepovers, I know that's a big like topic for a lot of parents. It's taking that like physical initiative too, to like, I don't want to rob them of these experiences. Like they still get sleepovers with grandma and grandpa and, you know, aunts, people of trust. Obviously it can still happen with people of trust, but we've established that amount where I'm comfortable with, you know, him going. And I know that I have equipped him with the ability to come and tell me if anything happens right away too. So he's still getting those experiences. But when it comes to like friends and stuff, setting those boundaries of like, oh, I don't know if we can go over to their house. Like, let's have them come over here, or like, let's meet at a park, like somewhere public. And like,
just because you can't go over doesn't mean you can't have a play day, you know, or still spend time with them. Maybe let's just shift the scenario or how that happens.
I think overall, one of my like the biggest things that I feel like I'm always saying like I've always said, but I have. Like new to you, not new to me. One of my biggest things going into parenthood was like reflecting back to my childhood and how it's affected the way that I parent. As a child, I was basically given the blueprint of what not to do as a parent. So, you know, when you're a kid and you always have, you know, you may like have that prompt in school or whatever where it's like, who do you look up to? Who's your biggest hero? Who's whatever? Like, I had a bunch of people that I didn't want to be like. I didn't have a bunch of heroes or a bunch of...
I think I'm going to bring up this point because I've always told you, you were meant to be a statistic. I don't think you were giving a bad blueprint, but I don't think you were given the blueprint of what not to do. Because this is where the statistic comes in. Because you were supposed to look at that as your normal, as your norm, as if this is how everyone around me is, that's how I'm going to be. Too. And you did the work, and it was by the grace of God and God holding your hand. And because, I mean, it's a really strong thing to do, to be able to grow from that the way that you did and try to completely flip the script of this is not my life, and no matter what happened to me, it's not going to define me. It'll help me grow and to become better than these people. but I refused to be like them.
Right.
Because that was a choice.
Yeah.
And you chose to do the work.
Yeah.
And whether it was one person on your side or two, even just one person believing you makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Whether it was the detectives, whether it was that aunt, whether it was your grandparents in the long run. I mean, because going through all those years and the way everyone, I mean, for the most part, those people like sided with this family member. It was like you were meant to use that hatred and take it out on people.
And that's what I've always said when it comes to growth and like for instance, like the issues with my mom, the fact that she's not able to like take accountability and like grow from the mistakes that she made. I always say that like you can use what you've gone through one of two ways. You can use it as an excuse to be a bad person and to fall into those habits of what was laid out for you, the cards that you were dealt, and just be like, well, I just had it this way, so this is why I am the way I am.
Yeah.
Or you can use it as a reason to do better.
Yep.
And that's what I wanted to do with my life. I wanted to show that, yeah, I may have a dad who is a freaking addict and an alcoholic and was an absent parent, and a mom who never stood up for me and played the victim card and all these other things. But I am choosing to be better because of that, not fall back into that.
You could have easily picked up on the traits of your mom.
Oh, yeah.
Of switching to the victim blaming. Victim mentality.
Yeah.
Into the narcissistic traits and stooped down to her level. But if anything, you persevered and you became better. And you, again, flipped the script and said, this is not who I'm meant to be.
Yeah.
Would you say, well, we talked about this, where you said it made you be, because I mentioned you being an empath even through it all, and still being able to remain a good person and still be so considerate of everyone's feelings and people around you. But then you said it also comes with being hyper aware.
Yeah.
Because of what you went through.
Yeah. So I think that because, again, it's kind of like learning the reverse, right? And teaching myself the reverse of what I was taught, what I learned. I think that hypervigilance of being like an empath and like having everybody's feelings always in mind, it comes from me not feeling like mine were heard or acknowledged from the beginning. And so I never want anyone to like feel, there's a difference between hypervigilant of emotions and being an empath and being a people pleaser, because I feel like I have come to the point where I know the line, right? Because for a while there, before I had set these boundaries with these family members, I would say that me being a people pleaser because of my empathy for others was what kept me in those uncomfortable situations. And me thinking like, I don't know, I don't want to, just as simple as, I don't want to hurt their feelings. Or, like if I said this or did this, what could be the outcome for them? You know, never really, it took me being a little bit selfish and me being like, but I shouldn't have to put myself through this knowing that it doesn't make me feel good. I said this the last podcast. I keep calling it podcast. The last episode. This is the podcast.
I always call it the podcast. Last week's podcast.
But yeah, it took me like being a little bit selfish, and I think me being able to do that, like the strength with that came, like I had mentioned too, with my little family, and knowing that I'm protecting myself, but I'm also protecting what's going to bleed onto them. And so yeah, I think beforehand I was just like, well, if I say this or if I do this, almost it's like if I stand up for myself, like is that gonna hurt them? And so it was finally just like, nope, this doesn't make me feel good. Like you're actually really making me feel like shit. You've never taken the accountability. You've never acknowledged. You've never like given me that validation at all. And so there's nothing that I need from this relationship. You know, while the memories, like I said in the beginning, the memories are good, but I guess the early memories, but there are also memories that are really bad, and you can't make up for the bad ones just because there were good ones there too.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't, it's not like one one does outweigh the other, and it's the negative that outweighs the good.
Yeah.
Because I'd rather continue to have good ones than just be like, oh, but we had one good time, but you're just going to continue to like.
You're not going to hold on to fucking breadcrumbs.
Yeah. No.
You're not going to live off of breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
Damn, I just came up with that.
That's a good one. It's
just an overall unfortunate situation.
Yeah.
What was, like, I don't want to say like
my biggest takeaway?
Like a positive thing that came out of it.
Mm-hmm.
A positive impact other than it helped you, learn like what steps not to follow.
Yeah.
Other than, how to, because you mentioned in last week's episode that I don't know how you worded it, but basically your mom taught you what kind of mom not to be.
Yeah.
Right? Like be a better mom.
Yeah.
Other than that, what is another thing that you would say like was a good outcome out of it?
I think the biggest thing is, like I said in my TikTok, I might have said it at the beginning of this episode too, but just like finding my voice, being able to like use my voice, use what I've been through to make someone else feel seen the way that I wasn't like seen, the way that I wasn't supported. And I think that's like one of the like biggest things and like my biggest reason for speaking out on it too. Like while it's also like speaking on it is helping me process and like I said, the more I talk about it, the easier it gets. Yeah. And it's like, it comes down to like ending the stigma. Yeah. Because like so many essays like go unreported or like
swept under the rug.
Yeah, swept under the rug, all because you're afraid to speak up about it for whatever reason. And while that fear is completely valid, like it is still important to know that like you're seen, you're heard, like what happened to you isn't your fault, like all of the above. And I would remember in therapy as a child, one of the biggest things that like stuck with me is that I'd be sitting there telling my therapist everything that I went through, and the only thing that she would say is, I know. And I'm like, you don't know. Yeah. You will never understand, you will never get it unless you've lived through it. Yeah. And that was, again, one of my biggest reasons for like wanting to be a child therapist, is because I can sit there, and while I won't ever sit there and say, I know, I do know. Yeah. Like, I have lived it, and every experience is different, but the commonalities in like the way that you feel afterwards and like processing those feelings and the shame. Because we talked about this the other day when I asked Desi, I think it was the first time I like actually like opened up a little bit more about like how I felt, and I was like, I kind of like felt like shame. Well, that's what I was going to touch on in that question. Like the outcomes of it. We were talking about like your how you can end up being like hypersexual or like with a lot of like childhood SA cases, that's what happens. Is a lot of kids who experience SA become sexually active at an earlier age, like, or that's the opposite statistic. Or the opposite. And for me, it was the opposite. And that's what I was gonna say with like the impact of my parents. We're kind of backtracking here, but it all plays into like the same. It's good that you touched on this, because, and we'll talk about this in the next episode, but I felt shame not only because of what happened, but because I was hypersexual. Right. And I was the opposite. So talking about it is good, because I'm like, dude, like, I think I was kind of shy about asking. I was like, were you like that? Yeah. And it gives people like a peace of mind of like, okay, so it wasn't just me, like. See, and that's what I mean, is like using your voice to know that it's not just you. But I was going to say the same thing with like my dad and his alcoholism and his drug addictions. Instead of me falling into those same habits, I became so freaking scared of alcohol and drugs. So scared. Like I I've never to this day gotten to the point where I've been blackout drunk.
Yeah.
Because I'm so scared to get to that point, because that's the example that I was set, and that's what I didn't want to do. Like, I don't want to experience that. With drugs, like, I've never experimented with any sort of like hard narcotics, no nothing, because I'm so scared. Along with like being super sexual, like I was almost like scared of it for a while there. And when I did start being sexually active, one thing for me is that I was like super specific on like who I was sexually active with. You know, like I was very picky when it came to like who I was opening myself up to that level. And so yeah, I think just like overall, my biggest positive takeaway from all of the negative that I have gone through has just been using it to help somebody else. Yeah. To, like you said, like, it's not just me, like have somebody else feel seen, feel heard, feel validated. And I think that's the biggest thing for me, as cliche as it like may sound, because I didn't get that. Yeah. And so I'm like, I don't want anybody else, the empath in me, I don't want anybody else to feel that way. Like, you should not have to feel any of those ways about what was done to you. Yeah, and what's that song? It's by Jelly Roll. Past Yesterday. One of the lines in that song is that you, how does he say it? You aren't the hell that you've been through, you're more than what's been done to you. And I think that's like one of the biggest things to like accept, which for me, like I said, when we were having that like discussion about like whether you call it like survivor or victim, like that, one of those things that I struggle with, I think it's like, I don't want like, this has nothing to do with the song, but I think when it comes to like talking about the survivor like title, I don't want the like pity, and I don't want the like feel sorry for me, you know, like while it is like really negative and it's really sad and it's really unfortunate, like I want it to be like like, I'm taking back my power.
It's like I'm not. Don't focus on what happened to me. Focus on who I am now, and then recognize the work I did to like overcome that. Yeah, which I guess like survivor would make sense, but at the same time, like I don't even know if there should be like an actual word for it, because part of it too is I don't want to give him that much credit for like I overcame like all these things that you had control over type of thing. Is that bad? Do I need to go back to therapy? No, I guess I see the way you're looking at it, because there's many people who don't come out on the good end. And it's like kind of putting like a expectation on them almost. Like, I survived and you didn't. Like, what didn't you do? That, or what could have you done to survive this, you know? And the truth is that not everyone gets lucky. A lot of people do follow through with their suicidal ideation. A lot of people fall into depression, fall into negative coping mechanisms. So I understand what you mean by you don't want to necessarily be called a survivor. Also, could be kind of like cringy. Where it's kind of like, please don't call me that, you know? Like I'm just, this is my experience, this is what I went through, but I don't necessarily need to have a title for it. That's how I feel. So it's kind of hard to be like, oh yeah, you're a survivor, because I'm like, I don't want that much like recognition. Almost. Like I think that comes hand in hand with like pity. Like, I don't want a sticker, because I'm like, I hate you. I don't want a little star sticker on your forehead. I don't want a star sticker. I don't want a cookie. Achievement. I just, you know, want it to be out there and be known, and have somebody else take something from it. And I will say, relate. I talked about this on my TikTok. My sister was a victim of like whatnot, and obviously she knew about her whole like dilemma or whatever. And my sister would always tell me, "Can I please talk Desi on her TikTok, on my TikTok?" And I'm like, "Dude, no, please don't." And she would anyways. And I had seen that video already, but then she came up to me one time. She's like, "Caro, did you see what Desi posted?" I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Her video about like, you know." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I did." She's like, "I wanted to cry." She's like, "I feel bad for her." She's like, like she brought up her,
like having gone through it,
idea, and like you said, like it makes people feel seen, and like not feel alone, and like, you know, like just validated,
right?
Almost, you know, and I guess like have something or someone to almost like look up to, and like just someone setting an example for them, almost.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. How you feeling?
Good.
Good.
There was only one point where I wanted to cry, but
yeah, you had asked before we started the podcast, do you think I'm gonna cry?
I had my tissues on hand.
I was like, you might, honestly. I mean,
it's a heavy topic. But it also like, and when we get to your story next week too, it's a huge part of like why we are the way that we are, who we are as people. Like, it's a huge part of our story. And I said that in my TikTok that I posted too, that I've kind of just come to terms with accepting that it's part of my story, and that it's in my hands and under my control with what I do with it now. Yeah. You know? So, yeah, I have gotten way more open with like talking about it, and not feeling, I think, it's ashamed with it or anything.
I was gonna say, the shame shouldn't be on us. Like I told you, I felt grossed out. Yeah. I was gonna like, oh, like, ew. Yeah. Like, what the fuck, you know? Yeah. And it put this, it puts this perspective of like, sex is bad. Yeah. Or like, you're grossed out by it. We'll get into it more next episode, but like when this happened to my sister, and then my memories came back of
what you gone through,
of what I had gone through. I went a whole year without having sex with Alex because I was processing what happened to my sister plus what had happened to me, and I was like, oh, did I have nothing to do with like intimacy right now? Like that shame again, it's realizing like it's not on us. What do you want to say to anyone that might be listening and might have gone through or might be
trying to make me cry? I made it through the whole episode without crying. Let's just slap this one on there too.
Yeah, someone might be listening and they need to build that courage to speak up. Maybe someone is trying to heal and they don't know how. Maybe someone is holding it in, haven't spoke up about it.
Yeah, that is like my purpose, like my point, if I haven't said it enough already. I just hope that by me speaking out, somebody takes something from it. That if this is something that you've been needing to hear, that you heard it, you found a place. And also if it's something that you don't want to speak out about, like publicly, big, openly, just finding that one person that you can speak to makes a huge difference too.
It made a difference in her life. I mean, literally that little boy saved you from that. Yeah. Also, I was gonna say, just because your experience might not be the same as somebody else's does not discredit what you've gone through and how it impacted you, right? Because I've always used this analogy, but it's like, you can tell me you have a headache right now, and I could, I don't know, have 12 stitches in my arm. But just because you don't feel my pain and I don't feel your pain, it doesn't mean we're
not both in pain. It.
Yeah. So your pain is your pain, and don't let anyone tell you, oh, that was it. That's all they did to you. Some have a greater impact than others. Some are easier to overcome. Nonetheless, all are hard to overcome. Yeah. Just maybe some take more years of therapy. It doesn't change the fact that something was done to you. And whether it was when you were little or when you were older, if there was no consent, and if it was, or if you were tricked into it, it was still done to you. And like, when your intimacy or your innocence is robbed from you and taken by force, then, or malicious intent, you get what I'm trying to say. This is too much. Don't let anyone discredit what you've gone through. That's the biggest part. Don't let anyone gaslight you into you lied, or are you sure you went through this, or maybe you're lying, or you did it for attention. Because in the end, it is not your fault. It is the person who did it to you. That's their fault. And
they're gonna have to answer for it one day. at the end of this, and I think for like every episode, our main like point is just that we hope that you can take something from every one of our episodes, even if you haven't like personally experienced SA before or any of the traumas that we've spoken on this far or are going to speak on. I'm sure you probably like know somebody who has gone through it before. So even taking what we've said and knowing how to be a better support for the people that you hold closest to you that have gone through something similar. But yeah, basically just we hope you found something to resonate with in this space. And
and we hope that you find a little bit of comfort in knowing that if you feel like
we're here with you, girl.
If you feel like there's no one in your life that understands you, we do, and you can vent to us, whether it's through a private DM.
That. Yeah, our DMs are open. If you haven't found your voice to the extent of you want to like scream it loud from the rooftops, at least finding one person that you can confide in.
We can be those people.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of nice to have like an unbiased opinion with things like this. Sometimes no judgment and also like not needing to know the extent of it, just knowing the basics of what you need to talk about when you need to talk about it. So yeah, we're not at all qualified to be therapists, but a good
listening ear,
shoulder to cry.
I wanted to say this before we end. Please, I am going to justify our chisme talks. I'm going to justify literally us just sitting here and venting. Listen to this.
Oh my gosh, I know what you're reading.
Study found when women vent to each other, they literally help lower each other's cortisol levels. It is good to talk about it. So if we're sitting here and even
Is it chismeando or chismear?
Chismeando.
For health reasons.
Yeah, estamos chismeando, okay? For a good outcome, for literally good. Yeah, literally, because we can sit here and we bring it up a lot because it was like not the topic necessarily, but like mental health and awareness and SA awareness and all of this stuff, because you have to talk about it sometimes over and over again. I cannot tell you how many times we've talked about this. How many times we talked about like different things we've gone through, because it's good to vent to each other and it's good to have a listening ear. And I always tell Desi, I think I told her one time, I was like, if it's like, I don't want it to be too much for you,
Yeah.
And she literally said like I'm here, like if you need to, like I'm here for you to vent. And it's always good to have that one person, because again, sometimes holding it in does more damage than letting it out.
And you're not going to get over it in one conversation either. So even if it feels like we're beating that dead horse, like it takes the repetitiveness. You need to have that person that you can go to and talk about it a million times, and it's still, you're still going to feel seen and heard. And so
anyway, thanks for being here as always, and thank you for being our listening ear. Because at the end of the day, you guys are here listening to our stories and just letting us vent to you and letting us show you, letting us give you a glimpse into who we are and what we've been through.
This is our outlet. Just as much as we can be yours.
Exactly.
And our light's dying. So that's our cue. Peace out.